Disclaimer, we are unqualified and unapologetic. We are not professionals. We are not doctors. We are not mental health specialists. We're just married. So take what works, leave what doesn't. Now let's do this.
These are the sessions, scars on display. These are the lessons, learned here to stay. No heroes left, just trying to heal. Unscripted voices finally real. We're still standing, still self-aware, building something from all the damage there.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's Glo from the Sessions and Lessons Unscripted show. Across from me is my favorite person, Joel Rosario, the host.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Trying to score points. Failed miserably.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? We hope everyone is doing good and surviving this thing we call life. Joel, how are you doing?
I'm okay.
You're good?
Sure.
Let's see that smile. There we go. There it is. So I guess for today's topic, we're going to be talking about lessons learned throughout the...
So we just jumped right in there. Didn't know chit chat or nothing.
You told me to start off the show.
Okay.
I was just telling them the topic, then we could have just, gone from there, but okay.
We're not easing anyone into anything today.
No, we're just jumping right in.
So I can't collect my thoughts that fast.
Okay, so how are you doing today, Joel?
Anyway, the subject for today is...
I totally botched that, but that's okay. We're not.
She sure did.
I did. I'll own that.
See, that's why I am the leader.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, I hope everybody, the whole three of you are okay.
Well, it's probably one now.
Yeah, they probably all shut us off. They're like getting tired of us. Epic fail.
Oh,
Gloria's trying to train to become a TV personality. I don't know.
no, I failed miserably. I'll own
The
it.
female Mario Lopez.
That is a disaster waiting to happen, let me tell you.
Anyway, speaking of Mario Lopez, you ever notice, I don't know if anybody has seen his TikToks or whatever, his social media stuff, but he's completely different than like the TV Mario Lopez. That guy's going to eat tacos and he's hanging out with
Having these guys beer.
speaking in Spanish and like Latin slang and
This whole time, like, I knew he was Latino, but you know how there's Latinos that don't, like...
a Latino named AC Slater.
Yeah.
In the show, wasn't his dad, like, I think his dad was Latino, I think. He was half Latino in the show.
Did they ever confirm? Like, I never remember.
No, there was an episode where he wanted to represent his people or something like that. I don't know. You'd have to Google it, guys, because I vaguely remember there was an episode where his ethnicity came up and he was trying to be proud of being Hispanic. And I don't know, it was one of those weird, after school special type episodes where it's supposed to be like tug on your heartstrings.
Oh. Yeah, so this whole time, like, I thought he was an Osabo kid.
I mean, he's an actor. You know what I'm saying?
But he actually speaks Spanish very well.
Well, I can pretend that I speak Spanish well, and then I'll hit a brick wall. And I'm like, bleh, 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 bleh.
Yeah.
So, why did we even talk about AC Slater? Oh, because you're practicing to be a sound out professional.
That was not professional. I was kind of thrown into it unexpectedly, but that's okay. That's
You have to be ready for the pressure, lady.
Pressure? I can handle the pressure.
So you gotta be on. You gotta act like the microphone's on all the time.
I introduced this one time and it was good.
You did okay.
I did great.
I wouldn't go that far.
I'm coming for your job.
Now back off.
He's just insecure about his
I will
position.
fight you.
Yeah.
All right, peoples. Like Gloria has stated, or did you state it? What we learned? Something like that?
Something like that.
Our subject today that we were talking about?
So the topic for today was, well, actually, Joel and I were just coming up with show ideas. And I was like, how about we talk about the lessons that we've learned?
Yeah, because the show is called Sessions and Lessons after all.
Yeah. But I was referring to not necessarily just the show, but throughout life, in different aspects.
Like what you've learned.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I haven't learned anything from the show. I mean, I have and I haven't.
That's not very
Well, it's because
way to sell the show, lady.
I'm talking.
I didn't learn anything from
No.
the show.
I've learned to be more open to communication, which is like a big thing for me.
You know what I have learned just
have
now? That I should probably hit this off button on your microphone.
You could do the show by yourself. I'll just sit here.
Anyways, continue.
No, that was it. It was just we were talking about, different scenarios or different things in life that we've learned that we consider lessons. And let me explain what I mean by I haven't learned anything. I haven't learned anything as far as like something that I can take away and like kind of make my own. You know what I mean? Because
I'm
most
not following.
okay, so this podcast is based on our experiences, right? So I'm not learning anything new. I'm just sharing an experience that might, resonate with somebody else that, maybe they can take away. But just because I say I haven't learned anything from the show doesn't mean that I'm not taking anything away. I've become so comfortable around like the microphone and, talking to people, looking at the camera. I'm still working on like looking at the camera and all that stuff. But I think lessons in life would be kind of where I would be coming from. Am I making sense?
Well, yeah, but it's in general, that's what the show is.
Right, because it's unscripted. We don't script anything. We don't.
Well, no, I mean, sometimes we talk about subjects and then it's like we try to find solutions to those subjects.
Yeah.
So you have to implement some sort of skill or knowledge or something of the sort to help you or fix things or what have you.
Right.
So I see what you're saying where you're not learning per se, even though that sounds horrible.
No, I didn't mean it like in a horrible way. I'm just saying, like, it doesn't mean that I'm not growing from the show because I think that, I have gained a lot of different perspectives and different ideas and different views, right?
Mm-hmm.
But to say that, like, let me take that back. I do learn things. I learned things that I didn't know about you. You learned things about me that, like, you didn't know. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, that type of learning. It's not like you sit down and take notes and it's like this real pensive type of show to where,
So instead of the word learning, it's almost like enlightening.
enlightening.
Because you get aha moments or the light bulb goes off.
Yeah, I think that's
Right.
That's more suiting.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah, I would think that
You're not learning like you're trying to study something.
No.
But that's not, that's technically what it is, but what learning is, well, you're trying to acquire knowledge.
Right.
I see what you're saying.
But it's not learning like something that you learn
Like
at
you didn't
school.
know what was going on.
Right. It's not like, oh, you know what I mean? It's like, I obviously sometimes know what's going on, let's be honest.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, yes.
Sometimes. But what is your take on it?
Well, since we're talking about stuff we've learned overall, not so much on the show. And I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I didn't
Like
mean,
you're not
no.
saying you don't learn anything from the show or you don't take anything away. I get it. As far as for some reason, the first thing that came to my head when we were talking about this was like, yes, I've learned a lot of lessons. I've learned a lot of things the hard way, which is, you know, that's how it
Hard.
is sometimes.
Yeah.
My life up until, I don't know, how do I even approach it? So for those of you that have listened to the show before, you kind of know our backstories, backstories of abuse and stuff like that. For myself, it was something that started when I was 15, and I was groomed, and I lived my life from like 15 to, I couldn't even tell you. Basically, I don't want to say under a spell, but I was,
You were manipulated.
yeah, and then I didn't really sit and think about it or realize it or acknowledge it. I should say it that way. I really didn't acknowledge it until I got older and everything started to kind of change in my life. So when I was single and a bachelor or whatever, I guess that's what you call it, right?
Well, I don't know. I don't think you call a 15-year-old a bachelor. You're still
I'm
a
saying
child.
when I became older,
Okay. I'm sorry.
I was already older than I
Right.
was an adult.
Okay.
So when I became single, then there was some like realizations of what really went on. Stuff people tried to tell me and I didn't listen to it. And like I said, there's a lot of lessons I learned, but the hard way.
Right.
I mean, I gave up a huge chunk of my life, and that did damage. It did. I mean, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It took a mental hit, and so yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of lessons in my life, and they're not always
Fun.
easy or
Right.
fun lessons. And kind of on a side note or whatever, like you're saying, learning things. I was learning how not to trust people, how to leave my guard up, how to resent people, how to alienate people. I mean, obviously the wrong things to learn, right? And then later learn how to not alienate people and not be angry, and you know
That
what I
would
mean?
be unlearning. I think, learning versus unlearning is the same thing but different.
Well, yeah, you learn how to like unlearn.
Right. It's weird.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see what you're saying. But yeah, I mean, I'm going on 51 years old, believe it or not. But and learning never stops. You
Of course.
continue to learn until your last breath.
Right.
So yeah, in my lifetime there's been a lot of lessons, a lot of good ones, a lot of bad ones. So yeah, I mean, the show, I still learn, like you said, we learn things about each other. We come up with ways and learn how to, you know, survive through stuff, because we're just two people on the internet with microphones.
Like every other person out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're just trying to figure life out like everyone else and live life like everyone else.
A thought that just popped into my head, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, because I know you will. But,
That's not true.
okay, do you feel that our communication between you and I has gotten better since we've started this?
Absolutely not.
Seriously, you don't think so?
I wouldn't. I mean, I honestly haven't thought about it because I think we communicate pretty well already.
Yes and no.
What do you mean, yes and no?
Yes and no.
So
Exactly what it
the
sounds
truth
like.
comes out.
Dun dun dun.
No, explain yourself
I will.
in detail, please.
In detail. Oh, I'm on the spot now. Um, so I think that, and this is me. I don't know about you. I'm not speaking for you. I don't speak for you. But for me, I've learned to have a little bit more caution in how I use my tone.
That is true.
Yes, because
And then you act like you didn't have the tone, but I'm the one that's listening to it, or I'm taking the brunt of it.
right. But you also have a tone too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's normal, but I think that one of the things that I have learned on the show is to kind of think about what I'm going to say, because I have word vomit. And when I get into my little moods or I'm going through something, it just blah, it just like comes out without me thinking sometimes. And obviously I come across as a uber bitch, but it's sometimes the tone that I use when, I'm not trying to start an argument, or, you know what I mean? Does that make sense or no?
Yes.
Do you agree? No.
That you're an Uber bee. Yes.
No, I honestly think that communication has gotten better. Not that it was bad before, but I just feel like we've learned to kind of just sit and listen to each other.
I will give you that, yes, because
Yeah.
I think I try to watch myself more, because I can be a hothead, and I can be, I'm kind of the same way, but I think I'm a little more, I don't know what's the word, snarky. Is that a word? Is that the word?
I don't know what you're talking
Like very petty, very
about.
like,
Yes.
like I'll purposely try to make you more angry. And then, I don't know. I see. I agree, because I think I watch myself a little bit more carefully. Not that I'm bad with that.
We also don't pussyfoot around each other either. Like, if I have something to say, I'm going to be blunt and I'm going to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
He might not be very receptive at the time, but once I vent and I get everything out, he kind of understands where I'm coming from, and vice versa.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, we're not trying to hurt each other. I mean, we're trying to, I guess, like, I was gonna say keep each other safe, but
No, I think we've just learned to coexist,
well, we coexisted just fine before.
of course, but I don't know. I just feel like this has opened or made me a little bit more aware of my wording and my tone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say I don't lose my tone here and there, because I'm not perfect.
Everybody has their good and bad days.
Right. But, I think that it's good to have an open line of communication, which Joel and I try to have. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're perfect, because we're not.
No, I disagree, because I think both of us are, I guess, I was going to say adult enough, but we're,
Very immature.
no, but I mean, we don't, like you said, we don't candy coat stuff, and we're not, and that's how I kind of prefer it. Like, I'm someone that appreciates honesty, right? I don't like people BSing or beating around the bush, or, I mean, of course you got to use tact and, like, learn how to talk to people, and everybody knows. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just the way you just got to know how to
Talk to people.
carry yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I've learned, I guess, from the show is to be a little bit more vulnerable, because I'm very guarded and I'm very like, I'm a very guarded person.
Mm-hmm.
I've been through a lot. I've, seen a lot. especially from a young age, and it's kind of like, I don't want to say humbling because it's not a humbling experience, but
Well, it kind of is.
it is. I don't even know how I want to say it.
No, but you're right. That because I'm the same. Like before this podcast, I rarely spoke about any of my
Right.
life, right? Like, and there's to this day, there's people that don't know my background. Like, if you ask a lot of people that I've worked with,
Nobody knows.
no one knows any of that stuff.
Right. And, I feel like this show has, not show, but this whatever podcast, makes me feel like I have a voice,
Yes.
and I could speak for other people that can't speak for themselves or that aren't at the point where they feel they can speak for themselves.
Hmm.
Because, a lot of the stuff that I, went through came with a lot of guilt and a lot of shame that had nothing to do with me. It was the people that were hurting me that kind of have to carry that shame, but because things happened to me at such a young age, like I wasn't able to process it, and I don't know, I guess this has been the most open I've been, in regards to a lot of things,
Yeah, I agree. It's very liberating,
it is.
and but I will say, even now, since I've been kind of more open about it, I mean, even in my book, I kind of talk about it, but then there's a lot of detail that I don't have in there, I guess.
Right.
There is, but there isn't. But even to this day, it's not completely like there's still a lot of people that don't know,
Right.
right? And I'm still kind of, I guess, getting comfortable talking about it. Like say for example, like at work, nobody knows any of my business, right? So they don't know about the podcast, the book,
Well, that you know of because you have stalkers.
Well, I may have may or may not have seen them, these viewing my profiles.
So I'm sure they have somebody.
I have no idea, but no one
Doesn't
says
matter.
No one says anything.
No, but it doesn't matter.
But anyways, the point I was trying to make was I'm still learning how to deal
Right.
with it, and I'm still learning how to kind of be open and sharing, like, and it's getting more. And at first, I kind of hesitated, right, because I kept that as guarded as possible.
Right.
But now, especially to me, it's like a healing thing too. It can help someone else, right?
Right. That's kind of what I was saying.
And for
too.
myself, like especially, like there's no point in like holding it in. It's not doing you any good,
No.
and you're not gonna heal that way or move on unless you kind of let it out.
Right. A lot of the stuff that I've mentioned on the podcast, more so the sexual abuse, not necessarily because I'm very open about the drug use and all that stuff. I'm not embarrassed about any of it, but it's more so the stuff that happened to me beforehand that I never. There was a point where I couldn't talk about what happened without like breaking down and bursting into tears about what had happened to me, And I mean, obviously now it still hurts to talk about, but it's different. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a good pain, but it's like a healing pain. It's like, I've learned that, like I said, I don't carry the shame of what happened to me. It's not my burden,
No.
Mm-mm. And
You were a victim.
Right.
Just like I was a victim.
Right. And, in talking about the podcast and stuff, I remember in the beginning, I was like, I don't know, man, should I talk about this stuff?
I was the same.
I was like, because I don't want to,
And then you were afraid of like what people would think right away. Like they wouldn't know.
not necessarily like people, but more so like my family.
Mm.
You know what I mean? I know that a few family members do actually listen to the podcast. You know, we've talked about it, and they'll ask me things, and I keep that stuff private. You know, the conversations that I have with family and stuff. Like I try to be as discreet because I don't want to slander.
Well, no, I'm the same guy. I don't want to start naming names, and I don't want to get, because there are people that are involved in this. I'm not trying to
And see,
badmouth anyone.
no, and believe me, there are times where I want to say who did it, what happened, when it happened, who's responsible, and all that stuff. But it's just like I don't feel the need to say that because they know who they are.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to give you any more attention in that sense to where I'm going to give you an opening to come to me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You know who you are, and you know what you did. And you know what you did was wrong. And it's like, it's almost kind of like liberating. Because...
Well, yeah, like I said, once you start talking about it, let your guard down.
It's a whole new world of, like, maybe that's why I feel so different this year. Not because it's the new year or whatever, just because I just feel that I've let so much out that I could be a lot more open. I don't care.
I mean, I think that's part of healing.
Right. And I don't care, like, if my family listens to the show and knows what I've, gone through or didn't go through, or, it doesn't matter to me. Because I shouldn't have to be silenced. I shouldn't have to pussyfoot or, consider their feelings for what happened to me.
I mean, that's what they want, isn't it? They want you to stay silent.
And it's like, no. And that is such a common occurrence when, like, people are abused or in abusive situations or relationships.
Mm-hmm.
People don't want you to expose that.
Right.
And that I think is one of the biggest lessons I've learned, especially now that I'm older, is that I'm not going to make myself small to make you feel comfortable, because I deserve to have a normal life.
Yeah.
Just like everybody else, What else? Has there ever been a time where you've, like, been through something and it was like a bad that besides the whole, marriage thing at a young age, has there ever been anything in your life that happened or that has happened to you to where, like, you were broken and torn, and you never thought that you would, like, be okay, and then you just woke up one morning and you were like, okay?
I don't know, honestly. Say this. Say that.
Okay.
Explain a little bit more.
Outside of your trauma.
Outside of
the trauma,
the abuse,
the marriage and all that.
manipulating, whatever.
Right. Has there ever been another instance in your life or another situation in your life to where you were just, like, so lost and scared and you felt small? And then all of a sudden, like, something clicks in your brain?
I do not. I don't think so.
Really?
No. Well, you gotta figure I was very young when I left home. So my whole life was, when I left home, I thought I was liberated, which is very ironic because
You just went to a different cage in a different form.
it was exactly, I just jumped from one issue to one, well, it was a bigger issue, but I'm over here thinking, I'm liberated, I'm free, I could do whatever I want. But in reality, I was being put in, like you said, like in a cage. And that's the life I lived, right? Like before that, I was just typical, little me and, with my parents and my brother. And just living life like a normal, kid or whatever. So, I honestly cannot recall. I would have to really think about it, I think. But I can't recall of anything. But, yeah, I just find it, and I guess that's the thing that I've learned, right? That I wasn't free. And I learned that later, of course, in life.
Right.
It was a farce. It was a joke. It was not an illusion, right?
Yeah.
So that was one thing I learned, and
Yeah.
like I said, it was kind of a huge lesson,
Right.
because there was a lot of collateral damage, and yeah, I mean, I honestly I couldn't think of anything.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I could think of probably 2 times in my life where it happened.
Mhm.
Probably, I guess it was when I was getting clean or cleaning my act up, and I stopped drinking and I stopped doing substances, and I stopped, talking to certain people, and it was just like,
So he's saying like a moment of clarity.
yeah, it was just, I felt, this kind of sounds so weird, but I felt clean. Like,
Well,
I was clean, but clean in a different sense. Like, I didn't feel heavy anymore.
Mhm.
It was like, I remember after being, I guess, sober for like 4 months, 4 months, I woke up one morning and it was like, holy shit, like, I'm gonna be okay. Like, this is fine. Like, I can do this.
Mhm.
And it was just like, I had no doubt in myself. I had no remorse. I didn't feel bad. I just knew that everything was gonna be okay because I had the motivation in me, the clarity, the cleanliness of having a clear mind.
Right.
And I swear to you, it's like the weirdest thing. It's like as soon as I thought that, it felt like a veil had been kind of lifted.
Right.
And I just saw my life in a whole different like perspective,
Mhm.
And I went from being this angry, bitter, bitchy, like, I want to say monster, because my temper was so bad at one point. I'm surprised this didn't it didn't, have me end up in prison or, something like that. And I know people look at me now and say, "Oh, you're exaggerating." I was like, "No." I was like, "Really?" There was a point where if somebody said something to me the wrong way, I would automatically just kind of
Right.
sponge up and just be ready to throw hands and stuff. And now it's like people try to tell me things or call me outside of my name or do something like that.
Mhm.
And I just kind of laugh like, really? You think that's going to hurt me? I was like, you have no idea what I've been through. Like, you calling me this or saying that I'm that, or, saying that I'm anything other than who I am. Like, it makes me laugh because it's just like, you're like a peon
Yeah.
compared to everything that I've been through,
Mhm.
And I think that that's another lesson that I've learned is that you have to stick up for yourself. You have to take up space. You are allowed to be loud.
Mhm.
And you're allowed to say screw you to somebody who's hurt you, and you don't owe anybody any apologies. And that all came from that downward spiral of using alcohol and using drugs to kind of mask the pain, because it was pain. Back then I didn't see it as pain, but now that I'm an adult and I am where I am in life, I see like, man, I was really hurting.
Mhm.
How messed up was I to think that putting all these things into my body was okay and it was going to make me feel okay?
Really, it was doing the opposite.
It was doing the opposite.
Yeah.
But when you're stuck in that cycle of alcohol and drugs and partying and just being out and being loud and just wanting to conquer everything, You don't see it for what it is until you crash and you have that moment of clarity, like, oh my God, if I don't change my life, like I am gonna end up eventually killing myself or hurting somebody else,
Yeah.
you know? And I don't know, I'm just thankful, like I said, and I've said this in the past before. I am not necessarily thankful, but I found grace in everything that I've been through. Like all the painful things, all the, you know, all the quote unquote shameful things.
Mm-hmm.
I found grace in all of that because all those little things and all those little marks and notches and, you know, the imperfection makes me who I am today,
Yeah.
you know, and whether you know me in real life or not, like I try to love everybody the same across the board, you know,
Okay.
and it's not always I can't even say
Reciprocated.
It's not always reciprocated, you know, but not everybody's gonna like me. And that's another lesson that I've learned too, that you could be the nicest person and have the best of intentions and genuinely have love in your heart. And I'm not talking like religion or anything like that. I'm talking like self love and self worth and all that stuff. No matter how genuine you are or how much love you have to give,
Mm-hmm.
it's never going to be enough for some people.
That's true.
They're always going to find flaws in you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, it doesn't matter. You know, the people that are going to love you are going to love you when you're down in the dumps, nowhere to go, you know, and they're going to love you just the same when you're doing well,
Yes.
you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my little spiel.
Wasn't there another one you said that there was that you learned, or you said there was two? It was at the two.
Oh, no, the second one was is that I learned to stand on my own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, for a long time, I think that subconsciously I stayed with certain people or hung out with certain people because they gave me the false sense of security, you know?
Right.
And it's like when you lose everything, you know, I'm going to refer back to like the head injury that I had. I talk about that often because that was another pivotal point in my life. You know, because I went from having my own little, you know, business, little side hustle, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and never depending on anybody, never having to, you know, ask for help
Right.
because I'm Gloria. I'm the oldest. I don't ask for help,
Right.
you know, and boy, was I humbled. I was so humbled after my accident. And I think that that was another pivotal point in my life to where I was just like, I can't, I have to readjust myself or I have to, you know, rethink my life because there is no bigger lesson in life than to have a stable life, a stable job, quote unquote, stable friends, quote unquote, stable family, you know, all this stuff. Lose everything because I lost everything, you know. I couldn't pay my bills anymore. You know, when you're making money, like good money, and you save it, but then you stop working because you have an accident or because, you know, something happens in your life and you can't work anymore, trust me, you run through them savings so quick.
Yeah.
You know this.
I know how it is.
You know how this is.
Yeah.
And it's just like, you know, I went from being independent to having my own, you know, little business, growing business at that.
Mm.
Just being totally independent, you know, was thinking about moving out of my brother's house because now I can afford to, you know, maybe buy a little place for myself, you know? And it was just, like I said, all of a sudden I went from having all of this stability and all this, like, security to having everything kind of, like, literally burned down, you know?
Mm.
And that was a very humbling experience because for a while I couldn't walk by myself. I couldn't see straight. I couldn't even watch TV, you know?
And what would you say you learned from losing all of that.
Oh my God. Appreciate every single little thing. You know, I've had people tell me before that, like, oh, you changed. I was like, yeah, I did. That was a life altering experience that I went through, from having a sight and being able to drive, to the smallest things. Like, I wasn't able to do that for a really long while.
Mm-hmm.
I went from being independent to having to ask people for rides or, can you please, order this for me? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, I went from being super independent to being like a little 10-year-old, And it was just like, I needed help with my medications. I needed help with like all this stuff. And it was just like, it was so hard for me to ask for help,
Mm.
And here's Gloria, basically, an adult in a child situation,
Yeah.
to be, and it was just like so hard. But going through all of that, like looking back now, I'm like, holy crap. Like at the time, I didn't realize how severe the injuries that I had were. And then when I started talking to the neuropsychologist and the neurologist and everybody else, they're like, Gloria, if you would have hit your spine just a couple inches above where you had your injury, you probably wouldn't be sitting here, or you would be sitting in a wheelchair like a vegetable.
Mm.
And it was when I heard that I put things into perspective. I was like, holy crap, this is like my second chance at life. I remember I changed my my personality. I dropped all the dead weight. People that I wanted or that I thought were going to be in my life were nowhere to be seen. And it was just like, I lost so much. I lost, like I said, supposed friendships, supposed people that I thought were close to me that would help me. And it was just like, when it came down to it, it was just my brothers and my mom and maybe, my cousin Maria and her family and stuff, But outside of that, like, it was just me, and it was like, I don't want to say I'm thankful that happened to me, but that was like my second cleansing. My first cleansing was with the drugs, and the second cleansing was just got rid of everything that needed to go in my life, So I'm very lucky to be here, and I appreciate that. So that's another lesson that I am strong enough to stand on my own.
Yeah, see, it's like I said, sometimes the lessons are pretty substantial. They're really big lessons. Sometimes they're not easy lessons either. I mean, and then the great thing is that you came out good on the other end of it. You
sure did.
You actually learned from the lesson.
Oh, I learned so many things. And most importantly, I learned a lot about myself.
Mm-hmm.
You learn a lot being by yourself and being in silence because, like I said, I couldn't even watch TV. Being outside hurt my eyes. Like, I've always tried to explain this because my brother one time asked me, like, what do you see when I had my accident? And the thing is that it's so hard for me to explain what I saw.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like the grass was like neon green to me. Like it was normal color to everybody else, but it would be so bright to me that it would contrast like the tree. It was just like, it was weird what I was seeing, And I was like, I wish I could explain it to you, and I wish you could see it because it's horrifying and beautiful at the same time. You know what I mean? It was surreal to be, in that position. But I'm so glad that, I have a couple of screws loose from it, but at least like the doctor said, he's like, hey, you're not drooling on yourself.
Yeah,
like,
it could have been worse.
Yeah, he's like, you're not drooling on yourself and you're able to get up and go to the bathroom, so consider yourself lucky.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are the two pivotal moments in my life where I was like, you know what? I got this.
That's very good.
Very traumatic.
Well, like I said, I couldn't think of anything Well,
What about like a fun lesson? Have you ever learned anything like fun?
have I? Well, I guess, yeah. I learned that. I mean, I guess you could say you learn when you like stuff. Like you figure out you were into certain hobbies or whatever.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess I could say that. I mean, I had so many hobbies and stuff I enjoy doing. And you can learn a lot by doing that, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
So, um,
I have one for you.
what?
You took a chance on love. Do 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 do.
Well, it's funny you mentioned because I think when I met you, it was soon after, not soon after, but you were recovered for what, about a year?
So at that point, I had just stopped physical therapy not too long
Before we met, right?
before I met you. I had just had my physical therapy and occupational therapy like a couple of weeks before I met you, which is when I went to my bike ride, which was that was an experience in itself.
We've talked about
Yes,
that
we have.
before.
But yeah, that was so surreal.
I would say that yes, that was a very happy point in my life because that, like I said, I was moving on from my previous life,
Right.
and I was already single for a while, and I was starting to get, I guess, lonely, and I wanted, whatever. I was just talking about that, and then of course, then I started thinking about it, and then I was talking to other people, like, oh, maybe I'll try dating, and of course, everybody's like, oh yeah, you should do this and you should do that, and of course, everyone's like all over it.
Tried to set you up on dates and whatnot.
There was, I think there was one or two people. Oh, I know this person, and then I was like, wasn't interested. I'm like, man, I'd rather find my own people.
I'd rather find my own kind of weird.
And there was one other person, and then I started going on the websites and stuff, and saw some lady on Facebook dating that said she loved tacos and going camping, which that was a no.
That was the red flag. I like camping.
But
That should have let you know that I was a savage.
she had me at tacos. And then, I mean, the rest is history. We can go into detail later.
Yeah.
So I learned that
Took a chance on love.
sometimes you gotta
Do.
you have to put yourself out there
Yes.
and try to find your happy,
Yeah.
even though stuff has happened to you.
And now we're miserable together.
Yes, I wouldn't say that.
No, of course not.
I'm very happy. Can't you tell in my voice?
No, Droopy.
I think we can leave it there.
Yes.
Hopefully that wasn't too much babbling.
It was.
But I think everyone kind of gets the idea. I mean, you never stop learning, and a lot of your
No.
experiences of life are lessons. Learn from them and adjust accordingly. So, be in it to win it. I'm a poet. You didn't even know it. And take it away, Gloria.
We're the champions.
My friends. All right, guys, don't forget the website, sessionsandlessonsunscripted.com, and drop us a line at the email, sessionsandlessonsmail@gmail.com. Go visit us on the socials, TikTok and all the other ones. TikTok's the most popular one. Everyone's on there, all the cool kids, I guess. Or not, as she dances across the... And don't forget the book, May, December End, The Ballad of Joy Flowers, out on Amazon Kindle right now. And anything to add, Gloria Rosario?
I actually do have something to say.
Go ahead.
Remember to take it one day at a time.
Yes, absolutely.
Sip your coffee, drink your tea, and just relax.
Or else.
And then pay your taxes.
Oh, that is coming up, isn't it?
All right, guys. So with that being said, we love you. Thank you for listening. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff.
Ring the bell, whatever the heck you kids do now.
Yeah. Do it all.
Do all of it. Do all the things.
All right, guys. Have a good evening.
All right, guys. See you later.